Hello? Where's my phone? No, that's not yours. That's mine. Oops, where'd it go? Guys, I'm not going to do this today. What is happening? Go away. Can you hear me? Ow. Can you hear me, Beth? Hello? All right, let me do that. Speaker view. Okay. Can you hear me? Oh. How do I do that? All right, can you hear me, Beth?
I can hear you. I just don't have anything on my screen at all.
Oh, you don't? You can't see me?
No, my screen's black.
Oh, that's weird because I can see you. Let me try. I'm messing around. All right, now your screen's black. Okay, there you are. Can you see me yet?
No.
We'll figure it out. I don't know. Let me see. I wonder if there's a video thingy on my side. Let's see. I'm messing around to see if I can get anything working. How does that do that? So weird. Keyboard. Stick recording video.
This is really weird.
Okay, so I'm on the video. Always display. Name the video. Turn off. Stop. Stop. All right. I get the cats under control.
My dog is sleeping.
No, I wish mine were. So everything that I'm seeing on my end says video is enabled. Mirror touch up. It's showing it's on. Connected. 5 minutes.
I can't even turn off my phone.
Let's
I
see.
can't even do anything. My screen is really black.
Okay. I see you, but it looks like it's not, it looks like it's a picture, not video from my end. Like your
Can you
profile.
like disconnect me from it so I can try to restart?
Okay.
It's not letting me do anything. Like I can't even turn off my phone.
Yeah, that's fine. There's not a rush. Christine can't make it today, so she's sick, so we'll pray for her.
Oh yeah, I definitely will.
But yeah, if you want to disconnect, I'll reconnect it when you come in.
Okay.
All right. Let's see if I exit that part. No, cancel. Okay. And okay, there. All right. All right. All right, can you hear me? Hello? Hang on. This thing is so weird. All right. I just have your other picture still. I can't see live
I
video.
can hear you.
You can hear me?
I can hear you, but I don't know. My screen is black.
That's okay. Maybe it'll fix itself. I don't know. We're the only ones here, so which is fine with me. Shabbat Shalom to you too. How was your week?
How was your weekend? Good. Pretty good.
I had a testing week. Like,
Oh, what was going on?
well, because we had discussed last week, prior to you getting on, Christine had said, I'm really struggling with how to figure out how I am supposed to be around her husband, like, the biblical wife, right? And walking that out day to day, even if, when it's hard, when you want to rebuttal or fight or argue or whatever and all that stuff. So we had talked about that, and I said, well, yeah, the ABBA was showing me some things that, with returning to the ancient path, how the women of ancient times lived, like Sarah and Rebecca and Lee and those women. Oh, Brian's here.
And being submissive and.
Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hang on. Let me ask. Can you hear me, Brian? Yeah.
Do you hear me?
Yes, now I can.
Okay.
Shabbat Shalom.
But the computer's muted.
It's not now. I didn't realize. Beth is here too, but we can't see her.
Well,
Shabbat Shalom.
it talks automatically through my speakery thing, right? Yeah. Okay. I'm learning all this stuff. Yeah.
We're still trying to figure it out. Last week it was.
Yeah.
Well, I think like last time you were praying, and then like I didn't mute my computer or something like that. So
it's
yeah.
We'll figure it out as we go. I mean, we're making the point to be here together. So
yeah, it's awesome, man. Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
It has been. It's a beautiful day here too, man. I'm like, because we've had rainy, yucky weather, and then like today it's just like, just straight up sunny outside and nice weather.
So what's the temperature today?
To me, I like this temperature right now. It's probably, it's not like jacket weather, but it's not like shorts and t-shirt either. It's like
right.
Cool. Yeah.
It's like 20 here.
Yeah. Ooh.
Here it's in the 30s, but it's sunny, so it's nice.
It dropped like all week long. It was pretty mild in the 60s, and then suddenly last night it went into the teens. And I just checked.
Yeah, here it was in the 20s last night.
Was it? Yeah, it's crazy. It's just it's just what we have to deal with. The time.
Yeah, it's gonna get crazier as it goes along, I think.
Yeah.
So when it switches to Beth, like I don't see her speaking like I see you, Amaliyah. Like it just has her picture frozen. Is that how mine does too?
No. She for some reason she's on her phone. We couldn't figure it out. We were playing with it before you came on.
Okay.
So it might fix itself, or
okay.
It's all about like, I know, Beth, are you using the campground internet?
Yeah. No, I'm using my phone.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because like my internet is sketchy.
I dialed in.
Okay.
Last week.
Hey, it's up to what mommy wants you to wear. I can't. She gets to pick it, not me. He's like, is this nice enough? I'm like,
gotcha.
you're asking the wrong person.
Yeah. So, Christine can't be here. She texted me, said that her and her daughter are both sick.
Oh no.
So
what are they? her?
She didn't really, let me check. She didn't really specify. She said she was not herself, so I assume that that means spiritual battle.
Well, if she wants to, you know, like, we'll encourage her to, you know, if she wants to share that with us, we'll pray and be in that spiritual battle with her. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's what,
absolutely.
yeah, I mean, that's what brothers and sisters do. You know, we go through it together.
Yeah. So anyway, she said, say hello to everyone. I'm reading my phone, sorry. She said, say hello to everyone and Shabbat Shalom. See y'all next Saturday.
Oh, how sweet.
So yes. Yes, indeed. I want to check, make sure. Because I sent an invitation to Rowena, Beth. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't, she's messaged me like twice, but she hasn't stated that she was coming or anything. It was last minute in the email last night. So I sent it to a couple different people that had, Shane, he used to show up for the live videos that when I would do them on YouTube. So I sent one to him too.
Are they in different time zones? Because the first time, remember, I missed it because I wasn't thinking like, you know, I'm in Central time zone and you're in your time zone.
Right. So, okay, I thought that was Christine. So, Brian, I'll touch up with you about what we chatted. We really just did a really informal kind of sharing last week. So, you know, awesome. Because we were trying to figure out this whole thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's always cool to hear how people's weeks went. You know, what did ABBA do with you that, you know, during the week, or what did you learn, or like last week, I really wanted to share with y'all like what he showed me with. Well, he actually showed me, my wife, and kind of the whole family. We were watching Super Bowl, and anyway, I don't remember. I guess it was Shakira. The halftime show was starting, right? And you know how like we become desensitized over time. And my daughter, she just kind of points out, you know, she says something in the nature like, what'd she say? Do you remember? Yeah, she said, I don't like what she's wearing, you know. And I was like, then all of a sudden my Ruach says, all right, you know, turn it, change it, you know what I mean? Turn it off, you know?
Yeah.
And then so I put on some Christian praise for, you know, it's like kids praise. And the song that comes on was, what was the song, Delaney? Yeah, did y'all hear that?
Yeah, I can hear it a little bit.
Anyway, it was so precious and such a powerful teaching and lesson, you know, to all of us, you know what I mean? And it's anyway, that was so cool.
That's so awesome.
Cool.
Because I didn't.
Be careful at lives.
Yeah.
And you know, you learn something from just the smallest of a child, you know what I mean? Like something big. It's just, you know, I think that's what Father wants us to do, is notice that, you know, when he's speaking through whoever it's speaking, whether it be a little child, a neighbor, a brother, sister, whoever, you know, to recognize that, and, you know.
Absolutely.
That's very true.
No, I don't want to listen to it now.
Yeah. So Beth, do you want to share anything from last week?
I wanted to share when I was watching Bill Cloud. Do you guys know Bill Cloud from Jacob's Tent?
From who?
Jacob's Tent, Bill Cloud.
No, I don't. I'm not familiar.
Oh, you guys should look into him. He's really gifted in Hebrew. And he was saying, it's showing how
You can watch it.
the Israelites, when he put them through the squeeze, the narrow part, before they had to be confronted by the Red Sea, like it made them rely on him alone. Like, it brought them to a place where they had no other way of keeping going without him. So anytime, like, they couldn't, you know what I mean? There was, and even he pointed out that Moses knew this area. So Moses is probably thinking, you know, God, you're going to have to do something really big because we're about to be in a squeeze. Like, And then
Yeah.
Bill Cloud also pointed out that's like the narrow path. Like, you have to rely on God. You can't rely on your own arm. Like, you're going to be confronted by things that, without his power and his authority, you're not going to be able to step forward at all.
Right.
I thought that was really powerful because of, the narrow path, Like,
yeah, that's really awesome. Wow. Yeah, so like one thing
are you hearing Beth clear?
I heard her clear at the last part of that. It was a little muffled at first.
Okay.
But
I just wanted to hear if it was me, or because to me it was hard to understand. I was trying to listen, but it wasn't real clear.
No, I think let me see if I
if you heard real well, could you summarize what she said?
Yeah, she was talking about what's his name, Beth?
Bill Cloud.
Bill Cloud, I believe.
Okay.
In Hebrew, and talking about or does he teach Hebrew? Or is he just
He's Hebraic roots.
Oh, gotcha. He's a Hebrew roots teacher.
Okay.
Sorry, I got to remove my 8 cats. Anyway, about crossing, in the Exodus and how they had to rely. Isn't that what you said? Rely on Yah?
Yeah, to rely on Yah alone, because they were in a place where that's all they had. Like, he had to
Right.
their dependence upon everything. And I feel like we're all.
And that's what's awesome.
I know that God is faithful to us.
Yeah. I think that's where. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say that that's what we're looking forward to and excited for. It's the total relying and trusting on Yah. You know what I mean? Like he's going to call us out. You know what I mean? At some point in time, and we're going to be, like I said, we're just listening. Like, we're the watchers. We're on watch, waiting for that call to call out to the body and say, all right, guys, it's time to move out.
Right. And it's exciting and terrifying at the same time.
Yeah.
It's
he's always provided. You know what I mean? That's the ultimate faith and trust that we offer him. You know what I mean? It's like we've seen you provide for them in Egypt. We've seen you provide even when they got captive in Babylon and coming back. You know what I mean? Time and time again. Even in our lives, he's always provided, and he just wants us to trust him. And even if it seems like the whole world's going to hell in a handbasket, trust him.
Yeah. And so I was just gonna catch you up on a little bit of what we chatted about last week, because we were talking about the patriarchs of old, and we were talking about, as far as our marriages go, how they are representations of our marriage to Yahusha. And how we're in a time of the preparation of the bride, right? We know that.
Yeah.
And it's a pure and spotless bride. And so Christine was bringing up the mention she was struggling and walking that out in her relationship, to the things that being humble and meek. And that's why I said that in the email yesterday, is because we had touched on that. We were like, well, maybe we should discuss that a little bit as a topic going forward, how to walk out humility and meekness and quietness and the things we don't necessarily like to do, in our relationships, where we catch ourselves, like the patriarchs of old, like Abraham and his wife, and then Jacob and those things. Because I have been watching a couple of other channels on YouTube that have been pointing in that direction, and ABBA's used it to grip me to be like, remember that you're walking that out in the physical with your husband, but it's really a representation of your walk with me,
Yes, yeah.
And so
works for male or female. He's showing me in a different way, and I'm seeing this whole big aspect of, like you say, him as the husband and us the bride. You're getting to see, even though a bride is female, we're also the body, which includes male. So we are seeing we have to understand that female aspect just the same as being a bride, even though we're male, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's totally true. Like, I think we as women forget the way you have to perceive that, because you're the bride too.
Yeah,
you know?
and we have no clue how women think, so we have to listen to y'all. You know what I mean?
I gotcha. Yeah,
There's
and
a
so
lot. Yeah.
there's a lot there to dig deep into, and so let me pull my notes out. Anyway, so immediately after discussing that topic, I was telling Beth that, boy, did I get tested this week on that. It was like, it just seemed like, and it wasn't like a fight or anything of that.
Yeah.
It was just like, okay, since you desire to learn how to walk that out, well, let's see what you do here, you know, and like poke that nerve and do this little thing here. And yeah, exactly. And the cool thing was that is that instead of blowing up, which one time I did get a slight argument, but instead of not recognizing it, I was able to be like, oh, this is what he's testing me on, you know? Like, I immediately recognized it. And then I was like,
I had a good pastor friend when I was in my younger Christian days of growing, basically early years of getting fed. And he used to say, I don't fight with my wife. We just have intense fellowship.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's really good. I do like that. But yeah, so that's kind of why I touched on those things that we, oh my goodness. I'm sorry if there's a bunch of noise in the background because they're acting crazy. So I've been stuck in the Exodus studies forever now.
Oh, that was something I had written. Remember? I don't know.
Yeah, I did.
It was one of my notes. It was like, when you start hearing the Exodus a lot, if that don't wake people up,
yeah,
all I know is my little sensors have gone up. You know what I mean? It's like,
yes,
whether it be this feast, the Passover and unleavened bread, or the next one after that, or whatever, we need to be ready for everyone from this point on. You know what I mean? Like, the call could be at any time.
That's right.
Right.
And so, and I'm really like, I don't know about y'all, but like, I'm intrigued by all the different aspects of what you can learn out of the Exodus. Like, there's so many layers. There's layer after layer of revelation, and they walk that out in the physical, whereas us, it's more of a spiritual, there's a physical aspect that will happen, but there's the spiritual too.
Yeah.
And so
exactly.
Yeah. Anyway.
And in a way, that's I feel fortunate and blessed that we are getting to walk it out in the spiritual first before. I mean, I think that they had to walk it out like in the flesh right off. They boom right out of Egypt. They didn't have like the law written down, nothing. So
they didn't have an example.
Oh, and we got a whole different, we got the Ruach inside of us to help it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's so awesome.
That's true. Yeah, because they were just thrown into it,
Yeah.
But
and then he was going to give them the opportunity to he had so much bigger plans for him. Yahuah did, and it was like just give it to Moses. I mean, we just want to hear from Moses.
Yeah.
It's like it was for all of his people.
Yeah. It was, and I mean, wow. I'm trying to see. I'm just going over. I have so many notes, but I was trying to see the one specifically to what we were talking about.
If you guys get a chance, I don't know if I agree. Am I coming clearly? So you guys can
you're
hear
coming.
Me?
I hear you clear and perfect.
Yes. Now it's
okay.
clear.
If you get a chance, like, I would test this to the Word of God and such, but this YouTube channel called Her Royal Roots, she goes into. I just watched a video of hers on submission in Hebrew, and she was breaking it down like through the words, and she said like the word in Greek is different than Hebrew, and she breaks it down really good. She's like, it's shin Lamak Chet, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but she said it's to orderly arrange myself in my proper position.
Ah.
So like, you know, like Yah is
Yes.
over the man is over the woman, the children are under the women. I was like, wow, if you guys get a chance to watch that, it really
Yeah.
Here's-
That, and that, you know,
opened my
that's
eyes
the
to
hard
some
injustice of Greek. It just doesn't have the same life as Hebrew had. You know what I mean? Like there's a
exactly.
Greek is so like
Mhm.
pop, cut, and dry. You know, it just doesn't have that same. The words don't have the same, carry the same weight, I guess.
Right.
Yeah, and the Hebrew is so cyclical, and you know, Greek is more linear, and
Yeah,
I was like, wow. When I found that out, I was like, whoa, like it opens your eyes so differently, and we have such a Greek mindset. Like a man, she was explaining that a man, for the Greek word, it's like, you're going to submit to me, go cook my dinner, but it's, you know, it's more of a respect thing.
Yeah.
Then you're underneath me, and so now I have power over you. It's more like an exchange of respect towards each other, instead of being you under my thumb, and now you're going to be like a puppet to me.
Exactly.
Wow, I was like, whoa.
And then it's like, you know, who wants to live in that? You know, that's and what wife? That's like a wife in slavery almost. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Like, yeah, she was saying that like you're a bond servant, not a slave, which is a difference. A bond servant wants to be a servant to you out of love, not out of fear.
Right.
And she was pointing out how they bring in the temple slave, you know, prostitutes. They were mixing things and bringing in these women as temple prostitutes, and that's how we got that Greek mindset. I was like,
yeah. I know. I used to many long years ago. The first thing I studied was the Greek. For some reason, in the Christian church, that's what they go by first. They go by the Greek, you know, everything's the Greek.
Well, I mean, look how important the Septuagint was. I mean, there's even a lot of scripture that Jesus actually pulled from the Septuagint. So it's not like as Greek as necessarily, you know, a language not to use, but it just doesn't have the same weight. And
right.
Life is Hebrew.
Yeah, and I love the Septuagint. I love using them all. I'm just like, my main focus, I just remembered in that walk was everything was coming from the Greek, and I kind of ignored the Hebrew, and that was just me. But now and it's so funny, Beth, you said that, because we must share a brain, because that channel, I started watching her like a month ago. ABBA put it in front of me because of the way she broke down the Hebrew. So it's so funny.
Wow, that is funny. We're like drawn to the same people.
Yeah, I know. It's been crazy. But the other thing, last night, was following Yeshua. I'm immersed in his Friday night Shabbats right now on YouTube, and it's small, it's not huge like Parable, you know.
Yeah.
But anyway, he was talking about last night what we were just saying, slavery versus what was the word? Oh, slavery versus servanthood. Servant. Right? Because the enemy is about enslaving people, and Yah is about teaching us to serve one another.
Yeah, and then by doing that, it's a freedom. You know, that's what's so awesome about, you know, his law is it's like you're able to do whatever you want in the playground, you know what I mean, or his little area, just follow the rules. You know what I mean? It's like that's your freedom, you know what I mean? It's like, because you don't have to worry about, am I doing this right or doing this wrong or whatever, because you know you're following the rules.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's going to bring you happiness.
Yeah.
It's going to bring you peace.
Freedom.
And that's what
freedom and servitude.
Yeah. Yeah. And so it's funny because like words, like I love words. I know you do too.
Me too.
And so submission, he was breaking, I didn't even finish this last night. I just wrote it because I was like super tired. But with submission, you know, submitting, and he was breaking that down to show me how it's a mission of the heart, you know.
Wow.
And
that's good.
It's like he gives us, it's weird. It's like I'm getting this sense of like kind of like a military diagram, at the same time a heart diagram. and then blending those together. So it's like
that makes sense to me.
Yeah, like
100%.
duties and orders versus, you know, submission and obeying and discipline, and how it blends together. And so anyway, that's
Wow.
just something he was showing me last night. And I was like, wow.
That makes sense
so
to
cool.
me.
Yeah. So that's just new. I like have all these scribble on this paper from last night, and I'm like, just wow, that's amazing. That's so cool. Because we know Yah is of order and structure, and the enemy is of chaos and confusion. And
right.
And so he was just breaking it. I don't really have a whole lot on it, but it was just really cool. I was like, oh, that's so neat.
That is cool.
I got some awesome stuff this morning, more about fasting. I know you, Amaliyah, you're, you know, it's been one of your things anyway. It was just a beautiful meeting notes this morning that me and him spent time and wrote. It was, but
that's
I mean,
awesome.
that was one of the topics on it was, you know, about the fasting and stuff, and fasting with him, and how he, you know, it's not fasting on your own power and your own, for your own, in a religious way. It's fasting with him in a freedom way. And if we listen, he'll tell us, you know, what he wants us to fast from, whether it be, maybe it's your phone for a day, maybe it's for a week, or maybe, you know what I mean? Just hear him, whatever it may be, you know, it might be food too, you know, just the fast has so much more importance and special when it's with him, and it's also not such a burden on you anymore, because then it's like a joyous fast because you're seeing what he's doing in that fast.
That's why I think with the fasting thing is like you're saying, is that I've been trying in my flesh, you know, in my flesh, because I've felt this call to do it, whether it be food or whatever, like you're saying. But I've had this, you know, and it could have been that I perceived it as a negative teaching, whereas it has to be A, B, and C, you know, it has to be this way. And then I would start out being like, okay, I really want to spend time with ABBA. I want to draw close. I want to hear him. And it starts out like that, but immediately, no. And I'm well aware the enemy is going to attack as soon as you do that. But it's like,
oh yeah, because he knows.
Yeah. And it's
knows
like
the end result of it.
I feel weak and I can't fight that off to be able to complete what I was doing. But then it's like of my flesh, because I'm trying to do it out of my flesh and not my spirit.
And see, the enemy doesn't want us to fast because it's like, you know, he realizes that those are strongholds that he has, and he could be losing those, and he doesn't want to lose the strongholds he has in us, you know what I mean? Because he realizes that we can somehow, you know, not all the time, but sometimes we can let those become higher than God, you know, Yahuah himself, you know, and then they're basically idols, you know. So whether it be, you know, like I say, from food to whatever.
It's funny you say that, because what was it? I wrote down I don't know where I put it. But it's showing me the food thing, which we all know. We know the whole GMO organic food stuff, right? That's not new. That's old. But he was showing me, I don't even know where I put it. I was reading.
I'll just go off the top of your head.
I know, I'm trying to think. I was reading, and because I'm really interested in finding out all of the dates for the next sabbatical year of land rest. Okay. And so we know there's a different one for the Jewish calendar. There's a different one for the Enoch, Zadok calendar. Everybody has different dates, right? So my desire is to take all of the dates that I find, put them together, and pray about it and go through the word to figure out the correct one, right? It's really, it's a big deal because of what we're about to experience with the food famine. I mean, we know this is coming. And with the thing with the China, and that's going to hit us in about 2 months, full force of not getting that stuff because everything's from China. And so,
you know, you were speaking about China and that whole Corona thing had popped up. I guess my wife's in a little fear of it, and I said, you know, I said, this really isn't, I said, I reiterated, we're going to hear wars and rumors of wars, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I said, this virus is nothing compared to what happened in the early 1900s with that Spanish flu virus that wiped out 50 million people.
Yeah.
I was like, that's a, there's a plague for you. You know what I mean? Like, that was a wake up call to those people.
Yes, it was. And that's kind of the way I feel. Like, yes, I prepared. So like after last Sunday, my daughter had a baby shower. So I show up with mask and I'm like, here's your mask, because my kids are my kids are not like, they're not walking any kind of walk. They're in the world, they're doing their thing. But anyway, I'm like, it's better to be prepared than not. So here's your little kit,
Yeah. At least you got it over here in the corner.
That's
You're breaking case of emergency. Yeah.
I said the same thing. And then my other daughter, who just found out she's pregnant, is going to Thailand in April. And I'm like, please don't go. Please.
No, you just got trust. Like, Yah's got it.
Yeah, I know. I always say they were your kids first. They're not mine. I gave them to you a long time ago.
Yeah.
That's good.
And but anyway, I forgot where I was going with that. Oh, the land rest thing. So with that, there all this stuff that's coming up, I feel like the very next year, sabbatical year of land rest is important, because if you study it, you know that in the year prior to that, you get a threefold blessing. You get a threefold harvest.
Mm-hmm.
Yah provides for the year you're in, the year of the sabbatical year, and the year after, until you can get the next harvest.
Okay.
And so it's important to know that, because then we know that we're going to get that threefold return on our crop, or whatever we're sowing into, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's good.
And so that's coming up. Like, some of the dates were 2023 to 2024, and then I've heard 2021 to 2022. So we're close. Either way, we're close.
Yeah. When is that? Isn't there something called too the sabbatical of sabbaticals, where everything returns back to the owner?
That's the same year. That's the year of the land rest.
Isn't that like the 50-year jubilee or something, like a bigger jubilee? Or how's that work? I mean, I can't remember. I'm trying to.
There's the 49 50th year, which we just had. We just had one a year or two ago for the 50 years.
Okay.
The land rest, and the one where like everything returns back to the owner, forgiveness of your debts, etc., all that stuff.
Yeah.
That comes the same year as the land rest. So that's every 7-year period. Because if you remember, way back when in America, your bankruptcy would go away after 7 years, and then they changed it.
That actually happened?
Yeah, that used to be here.
Oh, yeah. Like if you're debt, 7 years basically of bad luck, or whatever they called it.
Yeah, but it was the 7 years they'd wipe your credit clean. If you had it would go away. They wouldn't be able to carry that same debt past that 7th year. And anyway, they changed it to 10 years a while back. I think it was like early 2000s they changed it. But something crazy.
Yeah.
But I know it was effective in the 90s, because I had stuff drop off of mine. So I knew that it was still then. But anyway, so that's every 7 years. And so I just feel like it's a pivotal one with what's going on in the world. And
I agree.
Scope of things for us as Natsarim to really, we need to participate in that. We need to obey in that. And
so how do we as Natsarim do that? You know what I mean? How do we do that when we're not in that type of a farming type community as they, you know what I mean? How does that, what does that look like for us today?
Yeah. And
I don't know.
I don't know either. I don't know. I know I have a heart's desire.
Like, yeah. Well, I'm interested as he shares that with you. I mean, I'm pretty sure he will. I'm eager and anticipating that revelation to you. Yeah.
My desire is to farm, is to be in that situation, because I come from a generational line of farmers. But yeah, how do we as people all over the world who are not in that situation of agriculture
Yeah.
live that out in obedience. So,
Yeah.
and I think that's a new spin on things that he's showing me is when ABBA woke me up in 2018, the Passover time, I call it like he quickened my spirit to this walk, you know, versus the Christian walk.
Yeah. Definitely. I mean,
yeah.
that was such an awesome way. And you know, I was so nervous and scared. You know, there was no one around. You know what I mean? Like, it was like God's calling me out. There is no one. I don't see anybody doing what felt like I'm supposed to do. I mean, it was kind of scary for me, but I knew that I was hungry. I was like, this is not feeding me. You know what I mean? I'm starving in a way. It was like I got little bits of food along the way, you know, just to barely keep nourished. But it was like, Father, this is it. This is not. This can't be it. I was like,
right.
You know?
Yeah, we shared last week when Beth felt the call, when Christine felt it. We were sharing the times. So when was yours?
About 2004.
Okay.
Wow.
Wow, that's a while ago.
17.
Yeah, because mine, like I've been in Christianity since 1994, and really close walk pretty much, and then I'd have my falling away and come back and falling away and come back. But 2018, like that was my like quickening. Like either you're doing this or you're not, you know.
Yeah.
So.
And it's cool because you were talking about this underground railroad, and it's like, I started getting these pictures in my mind of basically, like I said, remember the proverb with the lizard, right? That would be stealthy. And there's going to be, and it was like, I just got this envision of basically these crafty, you know, basically the ability given by Yah to be stealthy and help get these people to the camps of refuge. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, in a way, kind of like Paul is doing. You know, he's going to these Gentiles, these different, you know, and even there, you know, it's both sides. It was Gentiles and the you know, the Hebrews who are having a hard time, you know, with you know, understanding Yeshua. And he was like, and I really feel for him too, because it was like, you know, we have tools, we have internet, we have, you know. So I'm like really looking, searching, you know, he didn't have all that kind of stuff, you know. I mean, it was hard. You think about all those letters he wrote, how hard difficult that would have been back then.
I know.
You couldn't just click your pen and go do, you know.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I was getting. My point was that when he called me out, he said to me, like, there is a return to the ancient path. And that was the sentence he called me out with. And so ever since then, it's been like, all right, so what does this ancient path look like? And I'm looking at all of the historical, the way that they did it.
Yeah.
And suddenly it like bells go off last week. And I'm like, wait a minute. There is a return to the ancient path, but in our day, in this present time. So I've got to look at it with different eyes and how to walk that ancient path out with the tools and resources and things we have this day, like you said.
Yeah. And he's been also showing me to start paying attention to the non-religious, but the good. Look at what so we'll take the Amish and the Indian, right, of old, their ancient ways of how they actually worked as a community before all the other crap got, you know, intertwined in with them. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of yuck that got intertwined, but the heart of what they were doing was exactly, you know, the ancient ways.
Yeah. And that was one thing he also said to me back then too, is like, look at, he'd be like, look at those people. They're all in for their God. I need my people to be set apart, all in for me, you know, and that's what he was pulling me out to see.
Yeah. Amen.
That's the set apartness. And it's the set apartness we'll be persecuted for too, you know, because we'll be recognizable. But
amen.
But yeah, so I've really just,
it's a worthy persecution. It's you know what I mean? It's a worthy suffering, you know. It's and we give it all to him, you know what I mean? Like, it's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. And so he was just been just showing me that kind of stuff. Today he took me through the book of Revelation, though, and I was like, I did not intend on that. I was like, I've gone through it so many times with the seals and all that, and I've read it, and I have oodles of notes, oodles of study on it, but it's like, I don't know. He was showing me something. I haven't figured it out yet.
Well,
I'm
like
looking.
That's what's amazing about his word. It's the living word. Like you can go back and see something you'd never seen, that the Ruach will bring something else to you, and you're like, wow, how come I never noticed that before? And maybe we weren't ready.
Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen.
So, yeah. So, oh, I did share a book.
Come here. Sorry, my dog. Gracie.
Is that you, Beth?
Yeah, sorry, my dog.
Okay, I was like, where's the noise coming from? But I didn't know if it was you. So I shared a book I was reading last week that is amazing. And Beth, her royal roots, I don't know if you knew that, but she's the one who shared the book.
Oh, no, I didn't know that. No.
Yeah, the scripture, let me flip over real quick, look at it. Scripture.
The agriculture book?
Yes, scripture, culture, and agriculture. That's the book that's how ABBA led me to her channel, and basically all I saw on her channel was a picture of this book, and I'm like, well, that looks cool. And so then I start reading the book, and then I go back to her channel and realize she's teaching the Hebrew on their culture and why it was so closely, like their culture so closely, and how it's knit into everything agriculture. Like that's the way, all the parables that Yahusha taught were agricultural based mostly.
Yeah.
And so looking at it from that perspective puts a really cool, it just opens up a whole new way to
how do we move into an agricultural, like, obviously you got to plant seeds, right, and stuff like that, but then how do we do that when most of the seeds today seem GMO or controlled by the system? I mean,
oh yeah.
How do you?
There are some heritage seeds. What do you call them, Amaliyah? Those seeds that you can buy, like a heritage seed or
the heirlooms, or
the heirloom seeds. Yeah.
There are a few. They're still available now. Get them while you can.
If you could send me a link to basically look into that and getting some seeds for my family and stuff like that, or wherever we go, that I'll have some of that in my backpack.
Yeah. So one thing I was thinking about yesterday too was that because I'm craving this homesteading lifestyle because of the word, it's just like this whole craving for the land to build the refuge, etc. And he was showing me yesterday that it's not going to look like it did back then, because what does the end days involve for us? Well, we have some crazy weather to deal with. We're not going to be able to plant things in the old way and expect a harvest because of weather, because of the poisonous soil, because of the contamination in the water.
But I believe he'll make all that, the soil and all that, and the camp that he sets up, it'll be all, it'll be good for us. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I believe that too. But I think he was just showing me too, because the end days are something that's never been before. There's nothing written about it. We're going like Israel did into the wilderness. So
and having to learn new ways, but in the old path, but a new way.
Right. And so he was really pointing that out to me yesterday, and I was like, that didn't think about the crazy temperatures and the winds and the rain and flooding or not flooding or extreme heat. But yes, in the places of refuge, and this is what he pointed out to me in Revelation. That's amazing. I just saw that. Was that I don't know what verse it was. I think it's after the seventh seal, it says that Yahuah spreads his tent over those who go through great trial.
Oh.
So his tent will be spread over the refuges. We know that.
I like that. I like that. His banner.
Yeah, yeah. And I think of that as like, you know, the covering.
Yeah, it's covering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh, that's so good. I mean,
the whole storms of everything around us is going on, but you're under that umbrella and you're staying dry. You know what I mean? Like there's provision under that covering.
Right. And that's for each of us now too.
Yeah,
like each of us now,
exactly.
we're not in the same area, but each of us are under that protection, you know, us and our families.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so,
that's why I feel so sorry for mainstream Christians, because they think they're going to be raptured out, but we will be here for tribulation. Like we won't be here for God's wrath. We may be here, we'll be protected from his wrath, but we'll be here for Satan's tribulation.
And they're
not prepared for that. They think they're going to be raptured away, and you're not. You need to be prepared for tribulation.
Yeah.
And
know that you'll be protected.
I was going to say they are going to see the truth, though. You know what I mean? Like they're part of the remember all the virgins. Some had oil in their lamps, some didn't. Well, they're the ones that don't have oil in their lamp. They're still part of the bride. You know what I mean? And they're gonna come. They're gonna, you know, a lot of them are gonna change. Well, like you said, that's the whole purpose of the Underground Railroad. You know what I mean? They're gonna the truth is gonna smack them in the face. It smacked us. You know what I mean? Like when it's time for, because what is that? I think Jesus said, no one reveals the Son except the Father, and no one, you know. Anyway, that scripture. And it's like Father's gonna reveal, just like he revealed to us. At some point, we were in that same system. He turned on a light. You know, there's a time where it's time to unplug from the matrix, and he knows when it's that best time for each and every one of us. You know, right now he's calling out his elect. You know what I mean? It's time for he's getting his elect together, and then that's whenever the big unplugging is gonna happen.
Right.
Wow. Oh wow.
Yeah, it's like so we've almost been in this house a year in June. I know we're not going to renew our lease. Like I know that ABBA said so. I don't know where we're going, but I know he said so. So when we moved in here, he said, buy a huge map, like big map.
I see it up there on your wall. See it up there?
Oh, no, that's a different map. I got one in there. But it's of the U.S., so I put it up. And then without thinking about it, I wrote on it. And now I look at it every day, and it says, he told me to take a marker and draw dots, which were pillars of light raised all over the U.S.
Yeah.
Like I said, and that's when he told me about the underground railroads that will lead people to those pillars of light. But when I go back and I read that, not remembering that I wrote on that, it's like prophetic. And I'm like, that's so crazy to now see some of that stuff that I wrote on my, like, because I have a whole wall covered in this stuff. Like I have pictures. I have glimpses of like graphics I found online, and I've shared some of them. But whenever I make a graphic, it's always spirit-led, right? To the picture that I'm supposed to put on it. And I keep looking at this one picture where I put this spirit of refuge, and it's of this, I don't even know how I found that picture, but it's of a girl going into like a camper in the middle of the woods. And I'm like, oh my God, I just bought that camper. It's in my backyard. I'm like, that's how prophetic it is. Like, I'm like, oh, wow, that's creepy. And, you know, like there's another picture of like these big army type tents. You know, the green canvas ones in the woods. And that's the vision he's given me. But I connected with another brother who's in Canada. It's amazing. He's like in his 70s. Abba woke him up, gave him 7 visions, and told him he's working on technology with plasma to create unlimited heat sources for the refuges.
Wow.
Like, it's crazy. And he was
That's
told,
awesome.
Yeah, he was told about the places of refuge in 1985.
Wow, so he was really woke up early.
Yeah, and you know, he
Yeah, I'm wondering too. Will it be like would the refuges be kind of like the four corners or the four pillars of the earth? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, in other words, there'll be a station in the north, a station in the south, a station in the east and west of basically I mean, there'd be countries all over, but I think just for our country. So basically, obviously the people in California aren't going to have to travel all the way to Virginia. Should it, what I mean? Should that be the calling?
Well, he was given a vision about California, so we know there's going to be this huge earthquake.
Yeah.
And there's going to be a huge earthquake. He was given a vision of the caravan of people coming out of California, out of the West Coast, and he said his vision was so long. It just went like 50,000 people is what it looked like. He said it looked like the Exodus in his vision,
Awesome.
And he's like, those people were evacuated by Yah waking them up before the earthquake.
Even in a place as evil as California, you know what I mean? Like there's a remnant there too, you know
Yes,
what I mean?
there is. Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And but anyway, it's just everybody has a different. So he also was led. So his places, the vision he was given for the places of refuge. When I was first given my vision, I didn't understand it. I didn't have a clue what it. I just had this thing, and I knew that I knew that in the center, I felt a call for there to be a tent of meeting.
Mm-hmm.
And so I knew it was in the center of the camp. I'm gonna try to show you. But
yeah, see, my envision of the center of the camp is a huge fire, like a bonfire.
Oh,
you know what I mean? Yeah, that doesn't mean that's for all camps, but that's what the camp I envision.
No, that's what I'm learning is that everybody has been given different.
Yeah.
Different yet similar. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, like mine, that was the center.
Awesome.
The tent of meeting, and this is the way he gave it to me. And so, like, all the tents are in a circle.
You know the significance of the tent you drew in the middle. If you ever listen to Rob Skiba, he was doing there was somebody he had met that was teaching the more truths of how the original tent of meeting was made, that it was actually a dome.
Yeah.
To reflect the firmament.
Yes.
The covering over the earth. Anyway, so when I saw what you just drew, it wasn't, you didn't draw a square regular tent. You drew the one with the dome.
Right. Because that was in my vision.
Yeah.
and so, and that's the way he gave it to me. Anyway, Donald, the brother that's in his 70s, Abba gave him a vision, but see, mine is of tents. The vision he had is there's a circle in the center.
Yeah.
And it's a yurt.
A what?
A yurt.
Oh, okay. I know what those are. At first I was like, what is it?
Yeah. But he has tunnels.
Yeah.
Off of his where these temporary houses connect. So it's a camp that can be taken apart.
Yeah.
And these what he's building is like these prototype buildings with like yurts or whatever that can fold up when you take it down.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool. But I was like, that's not what Abba showed me,
No.
Just like yours could be different.
Because I think there's going to be mobile camps.
Mm-hmm.
For basically part of you got to have mobile camps for the under railroad, right? I mean, you're moving to them, and then there's going to be stationary, more permanent camps for anyway, it's just cool. It's like I was showing us this beautiful picture, you know what I mean, that he's painting, you know what I mean, and before we couldn't see it. And now that we're growing closer in relationship with him, he's honoring us by showing us this big puzzle piece of how he's sticking, even how we are woven, me, you, everybody, we're all unique and different in our own puzzle piece.
Yeah.
So there's a way to fit everything together where we don't rub each other the wrong way, because certain people fit better than other people in the big puzzle picture of it all, you know what I mean? Because I was wondering, how's everybody, all this big mess of people, but God knows how to put that mess together and turn it into something beautiful creation.
Oh, that's so true. That's so awesome. And I call it, I envisioned it like a tapestry, like woven together. But I feel like, or at least I don't want to say I feel like, because that's kind of, I don't know.
No, you can say you feel it. If you feel it, you feel it, right?
I feel like he's gathering people together right now.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like, it's just weird because, you know, Beth, like, we've talked for so long, but we've never done this together. Right?
Right, yeah.
And then it's like
he's making a way where there seems to be no way, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the way I feel. I feel like there's a gathering of his people connecting, you know, personally. We're talking to one another, whereas before it was more not as personal, but he's connecting us in a more intimate level now. And then come together a little bit more. And I really believe this year is going to prove that.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, because YouTube it's harder and harder for Christians or for believers. They're being pushed off.
It's a stepping stone, you know what I mean? Into, you know, because the same way if I didn't have the church as a stepping stone in the beginning, the religious system, if I didn't have that step, I know I wouldn't have gotten. I mean, I don't say I wouldn't have known I would have got here. I mean, God would have still got me however He wants to get me. But it was a stepping stone that He used to teach me and form me and then, you know, not only to look back at it and be angry at that, but to look back at it and have compassion for it and see, you know, man, there's so many people that are blind. And the hard part is He told me, I don't want you to touch it. You don't do anything to that system. All I want you to do is love the people in it. You know what I mean? It's like, He goes, I put that system there. That's, you know what I mean? This is all to turn them to me. You know what I mean? Like every step of the way is all to turn to me. He goes, you know, we're part of that 144,000 elect. That's this end times remnant's going to be like, you know, boom. You know what I mean? It's all clicking, whether it be us or our children or whatever. This is the time. I mean, it doesn't take rocket science. Everybody feels it. Everybody, you know, any Natsarim knows in their heart. We feel it, that, you know, that the time is near. Even the people, the unbelievers think it's near, but they just don't know how to put it all together.
Right. They know that something is happening.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, they're looking for civil war or patriotism or what, you know what I mean? Like,
they're looking at a different way.
They're going to die by the
same
sword.
And I don't know. I've just noticed this too in the past 2 weeks per se, is that obviously I look different when I'm at work to everyone else because I have my head covered and a skirt on, right?
Yeah.
It used to be a thing, and then everybody got to know me and they're like, oh, she's normal, you know? But I've been getting like, I've been witnessing demonic attitudes in people for no reason. When they come up to pay for something, it's immetely like bam, and I see the wicked, you know, the spirit, and I felt in my spirit that Abba was like, this is going to rise, and you're going to bear witness to this because they hate you. That's what has to happen, you know.
You're seeing with His eyes now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I go immediately to the bathroom and pray for them because normally it would get in my emotions. And I say, you know what, Father, give me discernment over what's operating over this, because I feel in my spirit there's something coming against me. But I know that there's the person there that's not them, it's the principality that's over them.
Exactly. And what does Father want? What does Father want to do in that situation? That's when we ask and say, Father, do you want me to cast this thing out? Do you want me to just pray for him? Do you want me to just buy him a cup of coffee? I mean, you know what I mean? But it's important to listen at that point in time and go, Father, what do you want to do? May your will be done in this situation. This is a wolf. What do you want me to do with this wolf? I'm giving it to you.
That's good.
And I'll follow you however you want to play it.
And I'm writing that
he would
down.
have that none would perish, and it took me a long time for me to get to that point of that he would have, you know, that he died for the sins of the whole world, and that he would have that none would perish.
Yeah.
So
Everybody,
I feel sorry
the
for
whole
them that
world
they're
has this
deceived.
opportunity. You know what I mean? It's like,
Mhm.
but there are tares out there. You know what I mean? And that's just the nature of. And God, y'all got to hear. I mean, only if you want it. But today's meeting notes was just something special. I mean, he showed me this. This is just his story right now, right? This is
You want to
the
read them?
story of. Oh, it's like 8 pages, girl.
Oh.
It would be. I will send them to y'all
Send
if y'all
it to
want them.
me.
Also, I got
Sure,
gifts.
yeah, I'd like
Last Shabbat, Father told me to go and buy. I bought 12 CDs. And it's just it's music to spend Shabbat with him with. He put it on my heart. He goes, buy them. I said, yes, sir. And so I bought them. And if y'all want to send me your through email or whatever, send me your address. I'll mail those gifts to y'all.
Yeah.
Anyway, I listened to my copy this morning. It was beautiful. Oh,
wow.
all right. Hey, my mom's on the phone, so I'm gonna cut short.
Okay.
And,
yes, please send them to us.
I will.
Okay.
So yeah, just send me an email too about the seeds and stuff, so I can research that.
Yeah, I'm gonna write that down.
That's really nice getting to talk to you, and God bless
Nice
you.
to talk to you too.
Yes. Thank you. All right.
Have
Bye,
a wonderful Sabbath.
Have a blessed Shabbat.
Yes, thank you.
All right. We'll see you. All right. You there?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Yeah, it's just so, I don't know. Well, it's a lot. He would it's bizarre with Brian. I forgot how he commented on one of my YouTube videos, and then we were just talking. We just started on YouTube comments, not like personally, that's how we started talking about stuff.
Wow.
And he calls his time with ABBA, he calls it his meeting. So he calls his notes from it his meeting notes. But he's very,
cool.
very prophetic, because ABBA has used his stuff to teach me things, like very amazing things. But yeah, I don't know. I also, like, what I was trying to say is, like, with it work, because I know you work in a similar situation, right? Are you at the campground still?
Yeah, I'm still in the office at the campground.
Yeah, so I work in, a little country store in the middle of nowhere. But it's the craziest thing, because more people die here than I've seen in my entire life. This one area. I've never seen so many people die.
Of all ages, or?
The elderly, obviously, the elderly die, but I'm talking tragedies. Since I've lived here in less than a year, there have been so many young people die from car accidents, drug overdose. One girl, like, violent deaths. One girl shot her boyfriend. Another person shot another guy. I mean, and it's not like that kind of an area. It's you think about it. It's
I wonder if something happened there spiritually, like.
Maybe I should look it up and find out, because it's like last week 2 people passed away. It was an elderly person and then another person who had a sickness. Nevertheless, I've just never witnessed an area, as many places I've lived, I've never witnessed an area where people die so frequently. And
it's such a small area, right? Not like a big population.
Right. No, it's small, and it's just, I don't know. It's crazy. And I prayed over, like, is there a demonic principality ruling this area, controlling this area? Because I walk everywhere, like I've always done for the past 2 years. And everybody thinks that's weird. They're like, why is she walking? And it's not even like that far, but it's just like, now everybody knows me as, like, the walking girl. Because I literally had to explain to people, like, don't stop to pick me up. I'm good. I'm walking.
I'm good.
People just don't get it, because it's just a little, we're right on the water. So it's like a little water community. the difference is there's either extremely rich people or extremely poor people. There's no middle ground.
Oh, wow.
Because like across the street from our house are the $5 million homes, you know, because the big water's on that side of, like right in my front yard, I can see it, but it's on the opposite side of the road. You know what I'm saying? And then my backyard, we have water, but we're on the inlet. So
it's interesting you say that, because that Dr. Michael Lake and his wife Mary Lou Lake, they say they do that. They come out of witchcraft and they do occult from her family background, and they do a lot of rituals around the water. So I would be praying around that.
I didn't think about that.
She was talking about that, because I didn't know any of that, but I was like,
I didn't
whoa.
Either. That's interesting. That's very interesting.
I don't know how, because they didn't go into it real deep, but they brought that up on their last teaching. I was like, oh my goodness, like I'm praying over my water sources.
Yeah. I think that's what I do pray that over, like our home and because we have a really big yard, and then we also have our dock in the backyard, which is ours. And I pray over that and the waterway, right? But as far as the town, the people itself, I hadn't really thought about that, because when we lived in the mountains in Charlottesville, you know, before last year, it was really crazy because I was working with a florist, because I do flowers also, and I was at the florist, and this is before Abba woke me up now. It was 2 months before, but I was working in a florist, and my boss, she was paying me well, but there were these vibes. I couldn't figure out what the vibes were. And then, Abba told me after he woke me up, which I left that job, but he told me after that they were all witches, and they are.
Wow.
The whole town, the whole town of Charlottesville is witches, like all of them, the whole town.
There's a lot of that here too.
Is it? Wow. So yeah.
I was thinking about getting that book by Mary Lou Lake called "What Witches Don't Want Christians to Know."
Yes. Oh my gosh.
I was going to research that book, because her testimony on it is, gosh, amazing.
I think I saw the testimony on it, because I wanted to get that book too, but I just haven't.
Yeah, I haven't either. I've been praying about it, because I don't like to study too much of that and stay focused on that. So I have put it on the back burner.
Yeah. But I also feel like that's why I was bringing up the thing about, I've noticed a shift in people's attitudes. And they approach me like I'm ringing them up or whatever. I feel like that there's a shift. So I've been praying to Abba, and Brian had a good point, because I haven't asked, like, what's your will, Abba, for this person, you know? Me, I just feel like, all right, am I supposed to cast that out right now? Because make me bold.
Right, you know? Yeah. I'm like you. I'm like, what am I'm going to be doing, like you said, and saying, what do I need to do right now?
Yeah, because I hadn't thought about that. I always immediately just think, do I need to cast that out? You know? And
sometimes, me too.
Sometimes Abba doesn't want us to, you know?
And sometimes they don't want it, and then what do you do?
Right. And that's somebody else, I don't know who it was, but I heard that they were talking about it might be in Peter, I can't remember which book it was, but they were saying how what do we do with these people, and Yahusha said leave them or go away from them. I can't remember. I'll have to find the scripture.
Yeah.
It's in the new.
Probably because if you cast it out, remember it said something about a return with more wickedness once the house is swept up. You know that verse? And I was like, oh goodness, like.
Yeah, that's what they were saying. And so for some, Yahusha was saying that we are just to stay away from them. Like Israel in the wilderness, they sent out. Remember, they would send out the offering to the evil spirits. When they were to sacrifice for Abba, he would also have them sacrifice a goat for the wicked spirits in the wilderness.
Yeah, the Azels, or whatever is all the.
Yeah. but I hadn't thought about how I hadn't thought about that. I can't remember what it is in. It's First Peter or something, but where it says literally, stay away. I'll have to look it up, but it's interesting.
And I thought it was interesting when he cast those demons in that town into the pigs, the unclean animals, and they went off the cliff, and how they drove him out of there. I was like, they wanted him to leave because his presence was messing with their economy, I think.
Right, yeah.
So he wanted him to be gone, and not be casting out. I was like, whoa.
Yeah,
like,
that's true.
It makes me sad.
Oh, goodness. So what are you reading right now out of the Word?
I was doing the Torah portion. I've been following Bill Cloud's teaching, but I mean, you know, of course, I'm always going through the Psalms 119, and that's what I've been drawn to, like writing out the Psalms.
Yeah, I kind of just in the morning, like I said, my prayer with Abba has changed in the morning, like I said last week. So instead of trying to force it to be, like trying to force the old to work, you know, I took this week and I get up in the morning and I just sit and I'll pray like a short prayer or whatever I felt led to do. And then I just open up the Word, right? I just open it up and whatever I feel in my spirit, that's what I read. And like this morning I ended up in Revelation and I'm like, oh, this is interesting. Because at first I was reading Habakkuk and it caught my attention where he at 2:3 where it says write the vision, make it plain.
Yes. I love that verse.
Yeah, I do too. Because that's what Abba told me to do about the refuge. So I wrote it.
I remember that.
And it caught my attention today to write it out and then go study all of the commentary that's, you know, at the bottom of the Bible, you know, the little commentary notes. Well, I was reading through the commentary and I listed all the scriptures that they had listed beside that one verse. And I haven't finished looking them up yet. Because, like it says, the vision has an energy of its own. Which is interesting. I'd heard that before. But then that took me because that quoted in there.
Revelation?
It quoted Revelation about John writing. That's how I ended up in Revelation. And I was like, I got stuck in Revelation. And then he started showing me the churches again. I was reading through the churches because I feel like I always catch something new every time I do that. And in this, I was reading my New Jerusalem Bible. I'm still praying for a supper. Can't wait for the day I get a supper.
Oh, that's a good one. Oh gosh, yeah.
Do you have one?
No, I don't. I had one, but I got rid of it. I was going through something, and I got rid of it at one time. Yeah, unfortunately, that was a bad time. But
yeah, I remember.
I want to get another one.
I remember the first time Abba showed me the Sefer, and I remember what I thought, and I was like, "Oh, this is witchcraft. It's evil."
Yeah, and then now I'm like, oh, I wish I would have kept that. What was I thinking? Like, because I've been watching him in that Jessica Arellano's.
Oh yeah,
Dr. Stephen Pigeon.
Have you been doing the daily devotions?
Yeah, I've done a couple of them.
Yeah,
and it's so good. Yeah,
I can't do them every day, but they are good. I like them a lot. But yeah. So I feel like I remember it took some time for Abba to like bring me back to understanding the wording of the Sefer. Right? I had to. I had to wait for the Spirit to open my eyes to see it. Right? And
yeah.
anyway, once I did, I was like, oh my goodness, when you read it, it's like it just flows. Like it's a beautiful melody. I can feel it. And it's really pretty.
Yeah, you're right. It is.
And so, and that's the way I feel like, because I have the HalleluYaH scriptures also.
Oh yeah, I'm using the HalleluYaH scriptures this week. I change it out weekly. That's what I've been feeling like doing. I haven't done that before, but I was like, but this week I'm in the HalleluYaH scriptures, which I really like.
Yeah, I switched too. I always have 3 or 4 on my desk that I'm going between. And so I was reading my New Jerusalem Bible, and that's how the translation caught my eye, because something was different about the 3rd seal being the black horse. Because you know how with the coronavirus, people are like, oh, it's one of the horses or whatever, which I'm not so sure about that. I don't ever try to figure that out. But
the place. Yeah, me either.
But I was reading and I was like, oh, that says a day's wages for a quart of corn and a day's wages for 3 quarts of barley. It just caught my attention because it was corn and barley, where some other translations say bread,
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking about that because the USDA has been falsely reporting the corn harvest and the barley harvest for 2 years.
Wow, that's what I heard too. I can't remember where I saw that on YouTube somewhere too.
Yeah,
wow. That's interesting.
Right. And I know that my dad's a corn farmer and a soybean and barley farmer and wheat.
Wow.
And so their numbers are so far off that they're not reporting the true, like in another year or so, we're going to be feeling it, And that's when those prices are going to go up.
We have to be prepared.
Right. So anyway, that caught my attention this morning. So I was just reading through it and I'm like, huh, that's so interesting.
That's lining up with it. Because we know
it is. And also with, if you think about Africa and the locusts right now.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, and they're not getting any of their crops because the locusts are eating them. So
it's lining up with like the plagues of Egypt.
Yes. And that's
because Genesis and Exodus, the cyclical cycle of it, like they match up. I was like, whoa, yeah.
Yes, and then with China also, and their economy crashing, and how much we as a country have invested in their economy also.
It's going to be bad on, it's going to have a effect.
Yeah. And so it's just crazy to think, all this stuff's happening all at one time, whereas it's not single events.
Gosh.
And then regular
people. And all the people that I trust, that are like conservative ministers are saying that they think that we're in the end of the ends also. And I'm like, when you hear them say it, you're like, wow, like we are here. Like,
Yeah. Do you ever get that feeling you're like, because sometimes I catch myself and I'm like, am I really living right now? Am I really living now?
I know. Yeah, I do.
Like,
I do get that feeling because we haven't really felt it like, I feel blessed having a flushable toilet, having water every day, food. We've been persecuted, but not like we haven't really felt it yet. Like the true persecution. I'm like, God, why are we're so blessed. I'm so thankful to you every single day.
Yeah, me too. Because
just to have breath and life.
Yeah, exactly. And it's it's bothersome, like you said, like the I don't know, I guess you call them Christians, the lukewarmers. They're, like you said, they think they're going to be raptured out of here. And they're just gonna. That's when that thing that says men's hearts will fail them.
Right.
That's when it's going to hit them.
And I've been blessed in as that I'm the kind of person where I don't need a lot. Like I love things, I'm not going to lie, I love things, But me and my husband went camping in the middle of winter recently because it was like in the 50s. So we took our tent. We got there. We're in this little tiny tent. It was during Sukkot. Was it Sukkot? Was it Sukkot? It was during Sukkot. I was like, we got to get this tent and we're going to go out. Well, it ended up being terrible. We got there. I haven't told anybody this, but it was freezing. And you know what God said to me kind of in my spirit? Could you make it like this? Like, if this is where it was, would you trust me? Like, we were laying, it's freezing. It dropped down in the 30s. We're right by the river. And I was like, yes, Father, I will trust you. Like, it's hard for me to say that right now, but it was freezing cold. And I was like, it was like he was saying, preparing my mind. I was like, you know what, every day I'm thinking, would I be able to let go of the security of these things in this material life? It was really eye-opening.
That's what I keep telling my husband. Like, he gets it. Like, he hears, and he's not walking, he's working on Shabbat. I'm like, better, but he's just not, he's just not walking the walk, even though it's like he knows, but he doesn't believe that we're really in that time. Like, that we're really there.
The same here. The same. I'm going through the same.
Gotcha. Yeah, because it's almost like, like, I'll talk to him and he'll listen, and I'll show him proof and he'll see it, but he doesn't see it.
I know, and it's like, we can't wait until we're actually there, because like with Noah's time, it was there in a minute. Like, it doesn't just, what I mean?
Yeah, that's what I'm telling him. Like, he's like he wants to buy, like, he's talking about this little restaurant deal, because his dream's always been to run a little teeny country restaurant, not country restaurant, but just a small little business, right? And he's been talking about, like, trying to get this because the lady dropped the price and all this stuff, and it's in this area. And I keep saying, well, I don't really feel like Abba wants us here in this area for much longer. Like, yes, he had us here for a time to teach us some things, to bring us up to speed, but that it's not a long-term place. I don't know how else to explain it to him. And so he's like, well, we'll get ready. We'll prep, 5 years from now.
You're like, wait a minute, it's here. Like,
I know. I'm like, it's not 5 years away. I'm like, no.
Do you think he would consider doing like a food truck, or is that like maybe to where it could be mobile?
That's his dream. His dream is a food truck.
Okay.
And this thing that we're looking at is somebody took a food trailer, and the trailer's movable, but they built like around it to make it like a little diner, so to speak.
Oh, to where it's like, where it could be there, or you could move it.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. And so I'm like, okay, well, I'm praying with you. If Abba wants this to happen for you, then he'll make it happen. We're going to believe, and he'll keep moving forward. Fine.
Right. That may be true, because then you could pull it up and move it. So.
Yeah. And stuff. But I'm just like, I feel kind of lost in a way right now too, because we're in this house. I love it. I have never, in all the homes that I've lived in, ever felt like it wasn't my home as much as I felt like this house was not my home. I don't know how to explain it. It's really weird. It's really
I'll
weird.
be praying for you. I'll pray for you, because maybe he does. You never, what I mean? He may want you there.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, we lived in our RV for 3 years, almost 3 years, 2.5. And we did that. We were, doing like you guys, living and working at the campground. And then stuff happened. The enemy came in and all that junk. And this before he woke me up. Anyway, so that's when we moved to the mountains, and then we were there. But it's like, we've always been kind of, we've never lived in one place more than 3 years. It's just the way it's been. And but this house here, and I don't know, because I was praying over it, and I was like, Abba, if I have some sort of fear in me about being here, because it's close to lots of things that I shouldn't be close to technically, like Gypsy and all kinds of crazy. and the water and everything. And it's like, if I have the wrong perspective of fear, you know, if it's man's fear, the fear the enemy's putting in me, then I repent.
Right.
Then I'm sorry.
Right.
But if this is just like a training and a preparing ground for us to go to, because I really believe in all my heart that when we leave here, we're going to go to our temporary place of refuge, which could possibly be the land. I just don't know where that is.
Right. He hasn't revealed that part yet.
Right. And it's so, like, I'm like anticipating, but I can't do but so much, you know, prepping and this and that and the other, because you need kind of a location to get serious about the long-term things that he wants me to prep for.
Yeah, like the land and what you're going to plant and such.
Yeah. Like I don't want to plant a garden here because my landlord, I don't know, he doesn't want me to.
Right, I understand that.
And stuff. And I am really like this, the thing with me studying the Exodus right now is that I am embracing, like, I love this concept of tent life, the simplicity of it. It's the same as, it's equal to RV life. You know what I'm saying? It's like that, that kind of nomadic lifestyle. I've always been in love with it. Like the first vision I was ever given when I got saved way back in 1994 was of an RV and just moving around the country sharing the word, sharing Yahusha.
Yeah, I remember you telling that. Oh, that's so beautiful.
And that's always,
I think the less that we hold on to materially, the better.
Yes.
It'll be easier if we have to let go and be able to go. You know what I mean?
Yep. Because even when we got here, we still had a storage full of stuff that we left in the city before we got here. So it was 2 hours drive to get here from where our stuff was. Well, you know, ABBA told me before we ever moved from the mountains down to the city, where we were at his brother's house when his father died, before we got here, ABBA had told me to let go of all the stuff I had. He said, he literally kept saying one suitcase.
Yeah, I remember you saying that. I was like, oh goodness, yeah.
And so
let go.
December of 2019, I got rid of it all, let it all go. Just was like,
such a freeing experience.
I didn't even like look through it because it would have been a temptation, you know. Like,
yeah, you would have been, hey, we can get a smaller storage room. Or...
Yeah, I didn't. I was like, it's just got to go. No. But then I'm sitting here and I'm like, Abba, you're telling me to write stuff. I don't want to get rid of books. Books, you know. It's
yeah,
like, yeah, I love my books, you know. But yeah, he's just, I think he's really been, I don't know, showing me to, like, it's definitely, oh, I didn't even tell you this part. I was driving into town. So when I take, we're like 30 miles from the nearest, like, Walmart, right? So it's a little bit of a drive to go into town. And so I use that time because my phone doesn't get service. It goes in and out. So I just pray. I use that time to talk to Abba and I pray. And he said, and this caught me off guard, but he said, you have made the vision an idol. Therefore, and I was just like, I paused for a minute and I was like, what? And he was like, you've made the vision an idol. And I had to think about that. And I was like, oh my goodness, I have. I've like wanted it so bad that I've made it as an idol versus allowing him to do it in his time.
Right. Oh, so he's not going to give it to you until it's not an idol anymore, right?
Right. And I was like, oh my gosh, tears were streaming down my face. And I was like, I repent.
Wow.
I am so sorry. And he was like, it was almost like he's like, I want you to embrace, if that vision never comes to pass in this place, in this earth, I just want you to understand that that's a possibility, you know? That's
but
what I
it
felt.
would, but you would get it in the next life, right?
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah, I feel that way with my son too, because
Yeah.
I've been trying to share with him, and I believe in household faith, and
Yeah,
I
well,
just wish they.
one thing Rowena told me, and it's so funny, in our last conversation, is she said, stop worrying about your family. Stop worrying about your husband and your children, because it is from you that they will be saved. She was saying that the focus, it can be consuming a person. Like if we're so consumed with their salvation, right, and not trusting Abba, not trusting that he will bless our family from us, you know what I'm saying? Like bring them in, that it takes away from what he wants to do in and through us.
Wow, that makes a lot of sense. That's true.
And she was saying, stop focusing on that, because he needs you to do what he's got for you to do, and be obedient in that. It wasn't like stop praying for them. It was just stop the obsession or the worry about their salvation.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. And so I really tried to just hold on to that, and then just continuously offer, like my kids, like I offer them to you, you know, they were your children before they were mine, and you know their hearts, and I pray for them.
Exactly. That's right. Yeah, and plant seeds when you can.
Yeah. Yep. So definitely. Do you have anything you need prayer for this week?
I haven't applied for those jobs, and I need to. So if you would pray for me,
yes, I did.
It'll work out to where I won't have to work on Shabbat. That would be great, because we haven't been busy at the campground, so I haven't had to work on Shabbat. But I'm gonna have to tell her next week that I'm not gonna work on Shabbat, and I feel like that's gonna be hard because the campground, you know, on weekends.
Yeah. No,
is
I know.
busy time, but
I know.
But I feel like I trust God enough to know that if it doesn't work out, then He'll provide, and I really believe that.
Yes, He will. Because it's so funny you said that, because at my job, like I had initially I was off on Shabbat, and then suddenly something happened. She was scheduling me like every Shabbat. And I'm like, where did this come from? She knew, right? You know? And so then it was like I had to revisit that whole conversation with her, because she didn't get it, you know? And I'm like, okay, well, if it doesn't work out, I was prepared to quit, because I was like, I've got to be serious. I said, I can't play around with this. Shabbat is a mark, you know?
Right, exactly. That's our protection, right?
Yeah. And you can't.
Obedience.
And that's why I'm like yelling at my husband, because I'm like, look, he'll complain, oh, I got to go to work today. I'm like, you had a choice. You didn't have to work today. I was like, you had a choice.
I understand completely.
But they will. He'll get it. And that's why.
What can I pray for you for this week?
I just think, yeah, I'm just still praying about this fasting thing. It's such a struggle. It's
about
food.
being able to fast.
It's actually not, the fasting is not the issue. It's food. I have been slowly transitioning our diet. So like I've been investing in, you know, natural foods that I have to cook from scratch. Trying to get, because where we work, it's like my husband's gained a lot of weight. I've gained a lot of weight, and we were eating like all fried foods every day because of where we work and being at work so much.
Makes it like easier.
Yeah, it's just like you're at work, just eat, you know?
Yeah.
And it's honestly, it's the enemy attacking us hard in this area, because nowhere else we've lived or worked, or it's been an issue like it is now. And Abba keeps bringing me across to why it's food sacrificed to idols, why it's not good for us, why I shouldn't be eating it. And so he's really been working on me on that part, and I'm just trying to. it's a desire to be obedient, but the temptation gets so great that I'll forget and I'll eat, or
I know I struggle the same with fasting. I can't go a day fasting. I'll have such good intentions at the beginning of the day. By the end of the day, I'm cooking and eating. And I'm like, wait a minute. Like I was just.
I know. I do the same.
Over there in the.
I do the same thing.
And I'm saying, let's go get something to eat. And then I'm starting to eat. And I'm like, wait a minute. I was fasting today. What am I doing? Like, what is going on here?
Yeah.
Like my heart intention is right. And I know that. But then next thing you know, I'm sitting there eating. I'm starving. I'm like, yeah, what are you doing? This is not the way. This is not right.
That's exactly the way I am too. I do the same thing, and I'll go through like even half of the day. I'll be like halfway through the day, and it'll be like I'm intentionally fasting, and then suddenly it'll be like, oh no, I'm not doing that. So anyway,
and then when you get done eating, then the enemy's like, okay, look at you. You can't even go a whole day fasting. Like you had these intentions, and I'm like, it's so discouraging. And I'm like, I got to be serious about this.
Yeah. It is. It's yes, because that's what he does. He makes you feel guilty, and you can't do it, and you're worthless, and all that crazy.
And we know the end results of it is going to be something good. And I'm like, wake up. Like the enemy doesn't want you to do this because he knows that the end result of it is going to be for your good. And he doesn't want you to see that.
Yeah.
I understand that struggle.
I know. But I think Brian had a good point today is that I think I put too much emphasis in my flesh on fasting versus remembering that it's my spirit. Like, yes, it's our flesh, but you know what I'm saying? Not in our flesh doing it.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
So just prayer on that stuff is really what I need. Like extra ammunition against it. Because I really want to overcome it. It's like the ringing in my ears of overcome, you know? The way that, Revelation says, to him who overcomes.
Yeah, and then also God has shown me we have to overcome by the word of our testimony. So we need to speak up, because I watched this girl's Grace by Pieces on Instagram. Her testimony of coming out of witchcraft is powerful. You should go watch it. She has it on a podcast. It's like a 45-minute testimony of her coming out of witchcraft, and it's amazing.
Wow. Is it on Instagram?
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. It's on. She has a link to it, but you have to download like a podcast to get to it, because it was too long for Instagram, so she had to make a podcast out of it. But it's really powerful. Like I used to read some of the books she mentioned, and she said, I'm sorry if I'm offending anybody, like C.S. Lewis or the Zimmerman, which I read all of her books, that Myths of Babylon. And I was like, wow, I need to repent, because she brought up things that I forgot that I'd read.
Like what?
That I was steeped in.
Hear
Myths of Babylon. Oh, Myths of Babylon. Remember that book series?
I think so. It sounds familiar.
I was really.
What else did she said? C.S. Lewis?
Yeah, C.S. Lewis. And she said that, she explains the whole thing, and it made a lot of sense what she said, because the way he mixes in some of the characters in that book, his mythology. And you would have to watch it. It's really good.
I'll have to check that out then.
Sure.
Yeah. So did you share it with me on Instagram?
I think I did, or I will. I think I did.
I looked. I just I hardly ever open Instagram sometimes. I just look for your comments, because I'm like, I never get on anymore. I shared my daughter's baby shower, so she wanted the pictures.
Oh,
I was having trouble.
That was nice.
Yeah, and she might go into labor any day, apparently.
Oh, congratulations. Is she having a boy or girl?
She's having a girl. So she says at first, so we have two boys we have two grandsons right now from our other daughter. And then she'll be the first girl. And then our other daughter is pregnant.
Yeah, I remember you saying that, and I'll pray for all of them.
Yeah.
I'll pray for your new grandbaby that's coming.
I know. It's so crazy. I'm like, all at one time. It's so
That's
goodness.
beautiful.
But yeah. So, oh goodness. What is happening? My phone.
Mhm.
All right. Well, I don't know if you can't see a screen, can you?
No, hopefully my phone, I don't know what's going on, but no, I
Oh.
can't.
Okay. Well, do you want to pray real quick and then we'll close out because it looked like the timer went off.
Okay.
All right.
Do you want me to pray? Can you pray? Because I have a hard
Yeah, that's
time
fine.
praying.
All right. Abba Yahuah, we just come to you and thank you for this time. I thank you for Beth. I'm so glad that you brought us together. I'm so grateful to you for this relationship, Father. And I just pray the blood of Yahusha over it, that you would just always keep us connected. And I pray over Brian and over Christine, and over Christine's daughter, and over Rowena and all those who you brought across both our paths, really, as brothers and sisters. We know that you're gathering your people together. And we don't necessarily know what that whole picture looks like, Abba, but we're grateful for it. We are truly grateful to you for it. And I just pray for healing in Christine and her daughter, and just rebuke any sickness in the name of Yahusha, and I cast it out now. I pray the blood of Yahusha over their bodies, their mind, soul, body, spirit, will, thoughts, and emotions. That you would just protect them in Yahushua HaMashiach's name. And Father, I ask that you would bless Beth this week. I pray that you would open up doorways for this job for her. Just lead her in the way that she should go, so that she will know that she is walking in alignment with your will and your purposes for her right now. And I pray that you would open up the doorway. If this is the job for her, the work that you have for her in this hour, that you would just make everything line up the way it's supposed to, because you know the plans you have for us. And thank you, Father. And I ask that you would help both of us with fasting. We pray for the grace to fast. The desire is in our hearts to complete this fast. And we know that Yahusha has gone before us, that he overcame it all, and that we are to follow that example. So I just pray for more grace. I pray for more desire for obedience and discipline, because it's in that desire of discipline and that desire to be obedient to you, Father, that we will grow, that we will overcome. So I just pray for that today.
Thank you, Abba.
Thank you, Father. And I just pray that you would bless Brian, whatever he's got going on this week, Father. I pray that you would bless his life, bless his family, and that you would give his wife the desire that you have given him to walk hand in hand together on the path of the way. And we pray for our husbands. We lift our husbands up to you right now, Abba. And whether they're not listening or walking with you completely in the way that they should go, that you have assigned to them, whether they're being obedient or not, I pray that you would give Beth and I the spirit of humility, the spirit of surrender and submission, to desire to serve our husbands, to honor them and to respect them, even if they're not walking with you properly right now, so that you can teach us, so that we are right before your eyes, not before man. It's not always about we know it's not our emotions. Our emotions are wicked and deceitful.
Right.
And we want to walk hand in hand with you, Yahusha, because we are your bride. And so teach us how to walk that out here